Right, let's find out about those cars now. I can see one or two WhatsApps coming in. So, driving a Merc or a Beamer used to be the pinnacle of success. I mean, I remember my parents, one day I'm going to have a Mercedes Benz. And, a lot of people thought that was the pinnacle of success, and many still do as well. But the problem is our local economy, and we're battling a little bit. And South Africa's domestic new vehicle sales seem to be on track now to exceed pre-pandemic levels for the first time in 5 years. And new figures show that people are not being brand loyal. They used to be very brand loyal. If you're driving around now, you'll see certain cars on the road and you think to yourself, now that's a new something. And they got these funny new names. And it looks like that, people have got a little bit of money to play with. Well, joining us is President of Naamsa, Billy Tom. Hi, Billy. Good to have you on The Money Show.
Hi, Ray. Good evening, and good evening to the 702 listeners.
Right. Now, automobile organization Naamsa, you've been looking at these figures. What's driving the surge in new car sales? Is it choice? What do you make of what's happening?
Ray, firstly, if you look at the year we're cycling, last year was a bloodbath. The first half of the year, the industry was negative 7% down. And then we recover, and we ended up at 3% down. So we're cycling a soft period. And then if you look at how the volumes are year to date, in June we were 13.6% up, and now we've just got the results this afternoon. We're now 15.6% up. And what we're seeing fueling this growth, the auto sector has three buckets. You get the passenger vehicle, you get the light commercial vehicles, and the commercial vehicles, the heavies. The passenger segment, which is 2/3 of our volumes, has been showing a good growth. That segment is growing at 22.1%. The light commercial vehicles have recovered slowly, but not showing great growth. They hit 26% of the volumes. Halfway through the year, they were down 1.7%, but up now till the end of September. They up 3.3%. Heavy vehicles, a mixed bag. The mediums are up 8%, but the heavies are up quite a lot, 26%. But the extra heavies, which have been benefiting probably from the challenges Transnet has, year to date, they're down 12.3%. What we've seen on those numbers, Stephen, is that the affordable segment is growing 30.2%. And that segment is mainly a lot of the Chinese and Indian imported vehicles. And the Chinese alone have shown a growth year to date of 69%. So it's a year that's looking good, but it's fueled mainly by the affordable section. And if we look at, and also the other thing, what we need to remember as well, we started the rate cut cycle in September last year. So the rates have been reduced by 125 basis points. And normally you get a lag of 3 to 6%.
Yeah.
3 to 6 months where you start seeing the impact of those rates. And people are buying, but what we're seeing is that people are buying down.
You see, that's the thing, Billy. People are buying down, and I think you can get a very good deal where you don't have to pay R500,000 for a car. What are you seeing? You spoke about Chinese and Indian brands as well. What are you seeing?
Yeah, look, let me clarify the Indian section, Ray. It's India manufactured vehicles. So the likes of Suzuki, which are manufactured in India, but it's a Japanese brand, and Toyota has, because India has set itself as a manufacturing hub, so there's a lot of vehicles coming from there. So I think what we see is also, the landscape has changed. A lot of these vehicles, what used to be options, come standard, and people are opting to buy something affordable. And also, despite us having a rate reduction of 125 basis points, it's still higher than the pre-COVID levels. So we've reduced rates, but we're not lower than we were before we went into COVID.
Yeah. I have to ask, though, is it because people are getting a better deal? And some of the car makers, and I won't name any names because that would be very impolite and I think quite unfair, but some And some car makers, I think, over the past couple of years or even decades, have held us to ransom because that's all that's been available. So you've gone for that car, you've paid that price, but I mean, now things are totally different. You can get something with all the bells and whistles, and you're not paying an arm and a leg for it.
Yeah, look. I mean, the number of models in the country is massive. I think we've become a area where everybody wants to sell vehicles, but it's good for the consumer. I mean, they've got a choice, but there is a risk that we will face in the long term. We're becoming slowly a country of consumers, not manufacturers, because these vehicles that we import, they're not creating jobs. So we've got to get a better balance because they've created jobs elsewhere. I mean, the only beneficiary really is a dealer. So one's got to look at it and say, how do we reposition ourselves? Because you might have cheap cars but no jobs, because it's also taking some of the jobs. So and hence we also been saying to government, probably competition is good, but set shop in South Africa, manufacture in South Africa, create jobs in South Africa, then it's beneficial.
You see, that's the thing as well. Final question to you. I think it worries a lot of people if you are going to buy one of these new cars that are coming in. Number one, will they be around in our country in 5 or 10 years' time? And number two, if that does happen, will you be able to get the parts for it? Are we in a grey area where we've been flooded, I think, by cars and makes of cars, but we don't really have the backstory?
Ray, I will say, I think probably one needs to understand the industry in totality. I'll give you some numbers. I mean, globally last year, probably about 93.5 million cars were built. The Chinese built 30 million of those cars. So they've set up massive shops. The second biggest country in the world, I mean, China produced 90, America 10 million. So China has produced 3 times more than America. The next country is Japan, 8 million. Then comes India, I think, with about 6 million. So you can now see how the competitive landscape has changed globally, and how China has positioned itself as a manufacturing place, not only on cars. I mean, think of cell phones. I mean, cell phones are not made in America, but it's an American brand. So things have changed. I think the opportunity for us is to manufacture these vehicles in South Africa so that the backup is here. But I think, it's become very competitive because even the quality, quality of the brands have changed a lot. I mean, I was saying to someone, when we grew up as kids, there used to be products like gun gum to fix your silencer. You no longer have that. There used to be cars overheating. When last did you see a car bonnet opened up and then the water flowing out of the car because it's overheating? So there's been great improvement. So the competition, I mean, we see it all over the world has changed. I mean, that's why probably President Trump has been threatened by it and he's putting tariffs because the landscape has changed. But I think in South Africa, I mean, we're producing world-class vehicles. I think we've done a good job, and I don't see why we can stand back.
Yeah, but like you said, keep those jobs coming. We need to make sure that vehicles are still produced in this country. Billy Tom, thank you so much. President of Automobile Association called Naamsa. Good to have you on The Money Show.